Hello and welcome to our Learn Python series. Today I am going to show you that how we are going to use the functions, the Python functions that we've been talking about to write the student data analysis program by writing the reusable functions. I have shared the code as well as the data files on the Google Drive. The link is there in the description of this video. So let's now start looking at how we use the functions. In last two chapters, we talked about Python functions, and now it's time to put all this together. In this lesson, I am going to show you that the data analysis program that we wrote without functions, I have converted that into reusable small functions, and then I assembled all these functions or called them in the main function to do the data analysis for one class, and then I will show you that how we will use the same one for the data for the other classes. So here we have the main function called analyze student performance, which takes two input, the data file, which is different for each class, and then we have the class name, and we have given it a default class name called class, meaning that if the main function does not give us the class name, we will just use it as class. So now you can see that it is in the last lesson I showed you that in the main function we said that here are the 8 steps we have to perform to analyze the data, and now it's the same 8 steps. Little nomenclature is a little different, but they're the same 8 steps. So first step says read data file. That is the function I created. So the name suggests this function is going to read the data file. So you can see it is reading the file, and then it is preparing the student list and returning to our main function, and our main function is storing that student list. And then the next step is process the data, so mean that now we have a function called process student data, to which we pass the student list that we just got from the previous function. And this is how the function looks like, and this we use a loop over the student list, and then we create 3 lists from it: marks, grades, attendance, and then we return that as an object which has the key names as marks, grades, and attendance. And now you can see that in the main function we are storing that the process data. Next step was analyze grades data. We have a function called analyze grade frequency, to which we pass our grade list that we got from the previous function. And in this one, it processes the data to create the grade letters, frequency, and relative frequencies. And then we said the next step is going to be that we're going to compute the statistics of our marks. We created a function called compute mark stats. So what does it do? It's the same code that we wrote, but now we have functions where it is computing the min, max, mean, and standard deviation and returning that in a object. And now then we have that, now that we have read the data, process the data, analyze the data, the next step is now we're going to start showing results. And now you can see that the first, it says first what we did when we did the data visualization without functions. First we do the pie chart. Nothing has changed, but now we have created a function called draw frequency pie chart, to which we are passing the data that we need to draw the pie chart. So here is a function. You can see that we are passing our data list, the title that we want to show, and the labels that we want for the pie chart, the same code that we had before, but in a function now. Next, we have a draw bar chart. We called it twice. Now you will say that in the code that we wrote without function, where we had the horizontal and the vertical bar chart. So, but now we are calling the same function. The reason we are calling the same function, here's the definition of that function, draw bar chart. Look at the last the argument. It says orientation, and you can use horizontal or vertical. And inside that function, we use our conditional statement to say if orientation is horizontal, call the bar h function. Otherwise, just call the bar function to draw the bar charts. And then we create a function called show the distribution histogram. Now you can see the same thing, that the same function drawing the histogram. One thing I want to show you, that if you look at the definition of this function, draw distribution histogram, the last argument is show bell curve. So in case you want to show the bell curve, and what do we do? Here I have passed the last parameter as false, but you can change that to true, and that will, now you can see that how we have converted that the code that we wrote without functions, now we wrote small reusable function, and then we assemble them or call them in our main function. So here is how we called it. You can see that we called our main function analyze student performance, passed it the data for class A, and I gave the name A, and we, let's say, run it. Now you can see that we have all the data for class A has been analyzed and presented. Now I'm going to show you that how you don't have to write that same code 50 times, or how many times you want to do the analysis. All we are doing is we are calling our same main function, but now we are just changing the file. Let's see. Now you can see that now the results have changed, the analysis and the results have changed, and we need to fix our class name here. And now you can see this is the data for class B, and so forth. And you can if you have 50 files for the 50 classes, you just have to call the function by passing the data for 50 classes, and you don't have to write the same code again. Means the functions are going to do the job for us. So now you can see how powerful and how reusable functions help us in creating a code that can be reused. Thanks for learning with us. Do subscribe and like our channel. For more information, visit our website. Till next lesson, take care. Goodbye.